rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Jim Mendoza, Jennifer Ryan, Mayton. Happy National Wonderful Weirdos Day. Well, you picked the right show. You picked the right show. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. We have friends of the show here again. We have the League of Women Voters of Aurora with us. Good morning, Maria Chirito. How are you ladies doing today?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent.
Introduce yourselves for our listeners.
I am Berta Bailey. I am a co-president of the League of Women Voters Aurora area.
Awesome.
And I'm Denise Ellsbury. I'm the other co-president
All
of
right.
the League of Women Voters Aurora area.
Very cool. So we're going to learn about the League today, you guys. If you are unsure about the League or if you've never heard of it, well, get ready to learn. Their mission is empowering voters and defending democracy. Good stuff. Really good stuff. We got the local headlines that you guys love as well, and we will get to all of that stuff. But I hope that you guys are doing good. It's Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. We're almost here. Plans for the weekend before we get into this League stuff?
Hanging with family.
All right.
For me.
Always a good
personally.
thing. Always a good thing. Plans?
So Friday evening, I will be over at my church, St. David's Episcopal Church, which is on the corner of Randall and Illinois, because there's a pop-up vaccine clinic.
That is right.
And you have been so kind to make announcements about that. So that's where I will be on Friday evening.
Awesome. All of you guys, please get out there. All right. So where should we start? Should we start with history of the League, or should we start about with what the League does? Where would you ladies like to
What do
start?
you think?
Take it from the
Maybe
beginning?
just like a quick, what does the League do?
Yeah, what does the League do?
Yeah. What you said, empowering voters, defending democracy is kind of the good tagline for the League, because that's what it's all about, is really encouraging participation in our civic process, right? Democracies work when people
Said
are
very
involved,
well.
right? And they don't work well when people aren't involved. And so the League is really about just encouraging participation in a number of ways in our democracy. And again, maybe to tie in the history, right? It started in 1920, so it's a little over 100 years old.
Yep.
When right before women got the right to vote, right before the ratification of the 19th Amendment is when the League formed, in order to help. What they were anticipating was all these new voters that were going to be in the country, and how do we help them learn about this process of being voters and being engaged? So that was the beginning of the League, and we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment and the 100th birthday of the League.
Nice.
In 2020. Sadly.
We
Sadly.
had big plans.
We
It
did
didn't
have
work
big
out.
plans.
Right.
Speaker, the whole thing. And
Quarantine took a great celebration, but we're still here. The League is still here.
Well, and actually, we didn't stop just because of that. We did a lot in 2020, but we had a big celebration.
Right.
Just whatever.
Very cool. Now, I read here, the leaders of the women's suffrage movement founded the League of Women Voters in Chicago.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Actually.
Started in
it did.
Chicago.
On
Okay.
February 14th, actually, is when, I think is the date that it was officially founded in Chicago.
Wow.
Was it the Palmer House?
I think
I think
so.
it was at the Palmer House Hotel.
Nice hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, no, really
It's
good.
renovated now, I think. too.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Now, the League is a nationwide organization with different chapters.
Right,
Is that
so it's
okay?
nationwide. It's the League of Women Voters US. And then there are state leagues, League of Women Voters Illinois, for example, for us. And then within the state, there are chapters.
Okay.
So in Illinois, for example, there are 41 chapters, league chapters throughout the whole state.
Wow.
And we are, as of when we were formed in 2019, the newest chapter.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool. And actually, that happened really quick. We were able to become a chapter within months, which is typically not what happens. So that's how that works. And we have membership. If you're a member of a local league, then you're automatically a member of the state and the U.S. League.
Got it.
So
Got
that's
it.
how that works.
Has the League had any famous people besides yourselves, of course?
Oh,
you
of
know.
course. That's a really good
Oh,
question.
that's a good question.
We'll have to Google that.
All right. So Leslie Salyers says, "Thank you, Bertha and
Hi,
Denise." See, the shout outs are real in real time. Greg Ellsbury, good morning to you, dear friend.
Hey, Greg.
Jen Mendoza, good morning to you as well. And I want to say hello to Aisha Saxon. Thank you for the good morning. Timothy Zwicky and Tia. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So where do you ladies meet? How does that work? Are we all online, and is it
Well, we were live, then we went strictly virtual.
okay?
And right now it's kind of like a hybrid. It just kind of depends on availability and comfort level. So like our board meetings are still virtual. And we're hoping to move to in person, but it doesn't matter. The main focus is to meet and make decisions and talk about what the league's going to do. And wherever we meet is kind of secondary at this point.
Right. Okay. Also about the league that I'm curious with, how have you ladies found engage? Like, have people, I guess, since the passage of the 19th Amendment, were the floodgates open and people were ready to vote, or has there still been some hesitancy? The suffrage movement was a long time ago, so is there still hesitancy when it comes to women wanting to vote and exercise that right, or have they been ready to do so?
So it's, I think one of the interesting things is when you read the history of even the passage of the 19th Amendment, some of the most, this sounds very counterintuitive, but some of the most fierce opposition to women voting was women's groups themselves. And, like that, again, this was 1920, but like that wasn't a woman's place,
Right.
that they should leave all that to
Yes.
the husbands or the man of the house.
Don't take
whatever
part. Let's
that
just
is.
cook apple pies all day
Yes.
for the rest of our
But
lives.
somehow that's going to take away from, whatever.
Right.
Can't say I agree. I can explain that or agree with it, but and so I think in a sense, there's always been a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw that kind of similar thing. If you remember the ERA, Equal Rights Amendment,
Yes.
right? That has never officially passed, even though it has finally been endorsed. Who were some of the most fiercest opponents to that? Were other women's groups, right? That somehow, that was going to change the status of women rather than saying, no, wait a minute. Like, it's saying all things should be equal in terms of how genders are treated, right?
Not to ask you to explain what's in the mind of another person, but why do you think that is? What would be the motivations for someone thinking or wanting something that is, like we just said, counterintuitive? What would be the motivation for that?
I think I'll give you my take on it, right? Like this is my personal opinion. I think we're wired differently. All of us are, right? So some of us might be like, yeah, yeah, change, like what's new? Let's try something new. I'm willing to, we might just be more wired to move in that direction.
Right.
Whereas some of us might be more like,
more reserved.
let's just keep things the way that they are.
Right.
And change, I don't think that's going to be good. And let's face it, that some of those groups that were opposing that change thought they were going to lose some status.
Right.
In some ways,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I think there's some fear, lack of maybe information, education,
Right.
and then outcome, right? So what's the big deal? It's a vote.
Right.
What's important about a vote? Well, that's part of our mission, is that education of a vote is really important.
Right.
And you have that right. There are countries where you don't have that right, or you have to stand in line for hours or days just to vote, right? And we have that vote. That is our something that we're very grateful to have. So I think that plays into it, sometimes cultural, sometimes just your environment, where you grew up and what things happen around you. So I think that adds to that as well.
What would the world be like if there were no 19th Amendment?
Oh.
I don't think we have a scary button for that,
No,
do we?
we
We don't
don't.
have a scary
Like
button.
a screaming like, well, I hate to think about that, but
Right.
really, when we think about other countries that exist,
Could be like
in
that.
today's world,
Right.
where women don't have the right to vote, to express, to advocate, to unite, to create change.
Yeah.
So I think it would look something like that.
Okay. The league is nonpartisan. We do not support or oppose candidates at any level, supports issues and legislation after comprehensive study and consensus. That part, let me underline comprehensive study. You got to know what you're talking about, right? You got to know. And mobilizes persons to vote and to have a say in the complex decisions that affect us all. Currently, at this moment in our country, what's some of the what are the biggest burning issues with which we think people, women, everyone should be engaged with?
voting rights, right? Like, I mean, so we know that there are, federally, there's legislation that is sort of making its way through the House and the Senate.
Yeah,
or
with the
in
emphasis
front
on
them,
sort of,
sort
yeah.
of, right? And I mean, the league has always endorsed increasing access, making it easier for people to vote rather than doing anything to restrict or cut back. And
Right.
so, they're obviously supporting and endorsing the passage of those voting rights bills as they have a number of previous voting rights bills, like in the early 90s, there was the
Right,
motor
the
voter,
motor voter.
right? Like National Voter Registration Act. So there have been things along the way that have made like registering to vote and voting easier, and they continue to support those things. But that's a very real concern now.
I saw a meme or something that said something like, if your vote wasn't important, they wouldn't work so hard to limit it, restrict, stop it. And boy, that's true. That is true. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say that in 1957, this is one of the amazing things about the League, in my personal opinion, is that it created the Voter Education Fund, and its purpose was just that, to educate people about voting.
Was that when Eisenhower was president?
That's a really good question.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
See that?
Yeah.
What? Clap for me. Tracy Duran, what's up?
So as a result of that, one of the strengths of the League is that it does have position statements. It does do its research, and it does share that with all of the leagues. So the U.S. League, researches these positions that are important to us, and then well written out. You can find all this on the League of Women Voters U.S. website, and then it passes those position statements to all of us members. And then in the state then focuses on some of them, and then individual leagues get to choose what their focus is, because part of the mission is community, right?
Right.
Outreach to community. What does your community need? What is important in your community for us to be, advocating for? And so, for example, they break their positions up into representative government, natural resources, and social policy. These areas are all what communities are dealing with.
Right.
So, for example, under representative government, they're dealing with the positions in voting rights, election process, citizen rights, state election laws, and redistricting. Hello?
Yeah.
Right? And then natural resources, air quality, waste management, energy, water, and the Great Lakes ecosystem. We're all addressing those issues.
Yes, we
at
are.
a local level. And in social policy, equality of opportunity, healthcare, immigration, children's services, violence prevention, sentencing policy, criminal justice, mental health, fair housing.
All of the things
all
that
of
make
those
right.
are local issues.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm glad that we're having this discussion, because I have felt for a while now that not enough of the new generation, those youngsters up to age 18, 19, what have you, are aware of the kind of things that we're talking about. I think, there's many that are, and there's a lot of outreach to youth, but I have this feeling that so many young people think that it's nice now, it'll keep being nice. Like, they don't have to put, work into the system or do anything about it. And laws get changed all the time in many slight ways, like the voting rights and things like that, limiting hours in certain counties based on demographic. That's tricky. You may not think that it's taking away your vote. Oh, it's still open from 11 to 2 p.m. Well, people are working.
Right.
So you gotta, right?
Absolutely.
And that is one of the other sort of like big missions of the league, is to provide information and make sure that people have accurate information. Yes, there's these positions that we take on things, but we also just want to give people information about, like, hey, are you registered to vote?
Right.
Do you know how to get registered to vote? Do you know who you can vote for? Right? Like, what are all the different races or jurisdictions in which you can vote? And so really encouraging people to be aware of those things, because one of the other things we know is that, right, like in 2020, a lot of people voted. It was a presidential year, obviously. A lot of stuff happened in there, right? So a lot of people voted, but now we're coming up on the off election year of 2022, where there's not a presidential race, and we know that the number of people that will vote will be much less.
Sure.
It's not any less important.
No, it's not.
But it doesn't get people's attention because it's not a presidential race. So how can we, really encourage people and get people? Now we look at local races. Oh, it's really sad, the number of people that vote in local races, right?
I think Mr. Cunningham called it, I think he called it, it was worse than disappointing. I can't think, I read an article right after.
Pathetic.
Yeah, pathetic. Yeah, it was sad. It was really sad, yeah.
And when you think about it, your vote matters more.
Yes, it does.
In a local election.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's fewer people, just the pool, right? So it matters more.
Yep.
And how, that's one of the things we really want to be speaking to, is like, hey, vote every opportunity you get.
Your township folks or your state representative could have a whole lot more control over your everyday life than whoever's in the White House.
The school board.
Yes, exactly.
That you're going to vote for. When you look on your tax bill, those are the people that are making decisions about a good chunk of the local taxes that you're paying.
That's an excellent segue. The time is now 8:19 a.m. Don't we have some local? Hold on, and that qualifies as. We got a button for that too. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah. All right, you wonderful people. Anna Sierra, good morning to you. Tanya Traverso says, great info about the League of Women Voters Aurora area. Y'all
Tanya's our treasurer for our league.
Tanya the treasurer. Tanya Traverso the treasurer. Nothing but tease, y'all. Nothing but tease. Teeing it up today. Okay. The Civic Education Series, School Boards, presented in partnership with the League of Women Voters Aurora area. Learn about the role a school board plays in education and community. This will be Thursday, September 30th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Santori Library, live on Facebook. Facebook Live on the page of your page. We have Donna Marino, President of District 308, Oswego. Robert Gonzalez, Board Member of District 129, West Aurora. Lori Donahue, President of the District 204, Indian Prairie. And Dan Barrero.
Yay,
Look at that handsome guy. Can we get a zoom in on that?
Sorry, it's not in color.
Can we zoom in on Dan? Look at Dan. Right, it's not in color. Dan looks really gray. He's not that gray, ladies and gentlemen. He's not, yeah. He's the Vice President of District 131, East Aurora. All right, very cool.
And
very cool.
People can also go to the Aurora Public Library website and they could register to attend in person if they wanted to. You can watch it on our Facebook Live through the League's Facebook page. And you can be in person if you would like to see this at the Aurora Public Library.
Right, looks like rooms 125 and 126.
There is a limited number of people that they will allow in that space, like only 25 people in person because of social distancing and everything. But sign up. Right?
Exclusive.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and that's part of what we're really focused on is getting that civic education out to our area. So the League of Women Voters Aurora area has in its league North Aurora, Oswego, Montgomery, and Aurora, and 4 counties: Kendall, Will, Kane, and DuPage.
Right.
So getting that education out to our area is really important because you act locally.
Right.
This is what's really going to make a difference. You want to know what the curriculum is. You want to know what the taxes do. You want to know what does a board do for you and what does it do for a school. There's a lot of information out there that you may not know.
Right.
And that's okay that you don't know. That's our mission, is to get you to know that. So we do a lot of other programs also, but in this case, that's most the coming up.
All right.
Program.
All right. So I've got a couple of local headlines to tell these great, wonderful listeners about. So stand by, you guys. Stand by. Segue Part 2. Because we're gonna give some love this morning. The Aurora Noon Lions Club will hold a pork chop dinner fundraiser Wednesday, September 22nd. This event will be held from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Luigi's Pizza and Fun Center. That's located at 732 Prairie Street in Aurora. The public is invited. Patrons may pick up dinners in a drive-thru eat-in center. Dinners to choose from: 2 pork chops with baked beans, coleslaw, applesauce, roll, and butter, and a cookie, or a chicken dinner with sides. Tickets are $14 at the door and from Lions members. This is going to benefit Aurora-based Cities and Schools, a nonprofit that helps students succeed in school and life. Formerly called Communities in Schools, CIS provides school supplies, winter coat, school day counseling services, and after-school homework help, snacks, and enrichment activities at 28 area schools. Shouts all the way out. And also, don't forget, our friends at Mutual Ground are hiring for a number of positions: clinical manager, prevention educators, relief advocates, and therapists. They are a trusted resource and a longtime staple in our community. I'll post a link so you guys can apply for that later on. Actually, if you scroll down on our Facebook page, I posted a lot of pictures yesterday. It's been 9 posts. You can see the link there. Okay. Saturday, September 18th from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Santori Library, there will be a free community shredding event hosted by the Kane County Teachers Credit Union and the Aurora Public Library. This will be safe, secure, and contactless event. Fight identity theft and endless clutter at home by bringing in your personal documents to have them safely shredded. How about that? All right. Now we are back. Curtis, from what I heard, it's not just a cookie, it's a fried Oreo cookie. Tia, thank you for telling us that. Oh my goodness, a fried Oreo cookie.
Okay.
See, we got all the news. Tia broke brand new news for us. Thank you.
Don't you have a breaking news thing you can come on, breaking news?
Tia, you know what you did for that? Try the fried Oreo cookie. All right.
I love the breaking news.
Cole Astra, good morning to you as well. Greg Ellsbury says, women will save the world. My brother, you are right about that. Norma Peterson is here. Good morning, Norma Peterson, dear friend of the show, the executive director of Document the Abuse. And Bianca Camargo, good morning to you as well. Okay. What's next? What did we not talk about? What does the league have coming up? Any calendar and things happening soon?
So we've got that one on the 30th, right?
We have.
Did you want to talk about coffee and conversation?
We could do that.
Yes.
So
it happened, but we're gonna do. It again,
yes.
right?
So we actually do. We have the civics education series that we've talked about, and that the school board is the upcoming one.
Right.
We also have one in January coming up on affordable housing.
Okay.
We have coming up in March gun violence.
Okay.
And then we're thinking that in September we will be presenting a civic education program on immigration.
All right.
So that one is still being worked on. But for example, other things that we've done is we've held some virtual civic series on what does your county board do for you?
Those have been with the library too, right?
Yes, all of this actually, the majority is in conjunction with the Aurora Public Library, which has been just a fantastic partner. So we had representatives from Kendall and King County. What does your township do for you? Particularly, what is it and why do we even need it? Was presented by Brenda Hernandez, who, from the Aurora Township. The school board is coming up, and we had a bilingual census program.
Oh.
We had it presented in English and Spanish, and we had some notable.
We did. This is like February 2020,
20,
right?
yeah.
Like right before everything.
Right when the boat,
Yeah. And we had that with the library. But Senator Dick Durbin came and spoke at that event. So that was a big deal.
That was big, yeah.
Bill Foster was there, and Barbara Hernandez was there.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
And then someone speaking from the city as well. Yeah, and this was obviously before this, while they were just gearing up to do the census,
right.
And so just information about it and everything. So yeah, that was a big event. But we have some ongoing things that we do for our members as well. Like we have a book club and
which is open to members and non-members.
Okay.
We have
book club. I'm very interested. I love to read. I love books.
We will put you on that list.
Okay, yeah, please do.
So
I'm down for that.
We're going to meet every 4 months, so 4 times a year, and we're going to set a date. So let's say it's the third Friday of the month, and so that's all going to be set up in advance. We're kind of changing it to every month or every other month to a more consistent meeting time. So we choose a book, we read it, and we just have discussion. And sometimes we each read separate books of a same topic. Like for example, we on climate, and we each read a different book, and then we conversed about it. Or sometimes we all read the same book. So it's very low key. It's just good conversation. We also have what we have started is like coffee and conversations. So our first one.
Put me down for that one too.
Okay. Well, we will let you know. So our first one was the 28th of August, and we met with our alderman at large from Aurora.
Ron Warman.
Okay. And Sherman Jenkins. At Indiro, because we want to support local communities.
Right.
So this is membership and members can bring a guest.
Okay.
And we had an hour and a half of really great conversation. Members asked questions. The aldermen gave us information regarding to their questions. They always also gave us updates, and they were so thankful for our input and some of the solutions that were brought up to the issues that we were talking about.
Right.
And their takeaway was, thank you, and we want to do this again.
I want to ask you about two topics. The first is affordable housing. How is Aurora ranking, in you ladies' opinion, in the area of affordable housing? The time is 8:30 a.m.
I don't know that we can answer that, which is why we are having this upcoming program, right? Like, we just know that that's a position supporting affordable housing that the National and the State League have, and one that obviously is relevant, and we want to have that conversation about how that applies in our communities.
And actually, related to that, our book for our book club this month is Evicted, and I don't have the full name and the author in front of me. It's on my phone. That book was written in 2017, and it takes place in Milwaukee, but it is a nationwide issue. It addresses eviction, landlord laws, all the inequities. It's a really tough book to read, but it's an excellent book to read. And as a result of that book, one of the things that I'm going to want to discuss as our book club is, what information do we as a league need to have in order to really address this issue as a league. And so that ties right into what we want to do, what that program is going to be. I
asked that because we've had listeners of the show and folks say that Aurora needs more affordable housing. Great position. I've had on Alderman Franco, who, from an aldermanic point, was detailing affordable housing and an abundance of affordable housing and trying to bring in new businesses to a town, the assessment of affordable housing versus disposable income. What does it look like? If we're going to build a Sullivan Steakhouse, for example, how much is too much? All of that kind of thing. So I've heard both sides, but also I work in the housing industry, and I've had people. The rent program that just ended, the state via IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Agency. On the same day, I've had tenants call crying because they lost their job due to the pandemic. They went from making a good salary with ComEd, now they're driving Uber, trying to make ends meet, and they're scared and don't want to get kicked out. And I've had landlords call me asking, can they kick this person out? What day and time can I kick this person? And it's sad. It's really sad. It is very sad. So I'll look into this book, Evicted, because that's got to be.
I'll send you the information.
Yeah, that's got to be very poignant.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
That's the word of the day, folks. Poignant. The time is now 8:33 a.m. Good morning to Josue Paez, Karina. Good morning to you, and Renee Cruz. Renee Cruz is here, ladies and gentlemen. That's the judge. The judge. Renee Cruz is just marching somewhere, I think, for the Kane Democrats. I just saw you in a picture marching, sir. Yeah.
So I was going to say, in terms of some upcoming things, actually this morning when I leave here, I'm heading right over to the downtown campus of Waubonsie Community College because they're having a beginning of the year event for students.
Okay.
And I will be there with one of our other members, and we will be there to register voters. So any of the students that are going to be at the downtown campus, or anybody else, right, stop by, because we can register you to vote. Or if you have moved and you need to change your address,
right,
we can help you with that as well. And if you're not sure if you're registered to vote, we can help with all of those things.
No matter what it is, your back is got with the League of
That's
Women Voters,
right.
ladies and
Got it.
gentlemen.
You will
right.
walk away with some information.
Bianca Camargo tells us, yes, registered to vote. And Tanya says, evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American
you.
City by Matthew Desmond. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Tanya.
Tanya.
Victoria Hala Maldonado is a fabulous author who wrote such books as Bartleby the Brave for children. The version is also in Spanish. Good morning to you, Victoria Hala Maldonado, as well. All right, the time is 8:35 a.m.
Can I give a shout out
about absolutely
about registering voters? Right, so this is a big thing that many leagues do. We have a number of deputy registrars that are members, right? People that can register voters. And so we try to be at community events to register voters. So most recently we were at the Ukulele Fest, right?
Oh, yes.
At the Ukulele Fest.
Yes.
We had a booth where we could register voters there. We have been at some of the different downtown events, sometimes at First Fridays, at other kinds of things. Sometimes we'll just be at a downtown business. So I want to give a shout out to Treadwell, who has, during the pandemic, gave us a space outside so that we could just sit out there and register voters. Likewise, McCarty Mills did the
Shouts
same
out.
thing.
Yep.
So I want to give shouts out to both of them about that. And if somebody is having an event and they would like to have someone there registering voters, give us a call, reach out to us, because we're always looking for those opportunities to, interface with people and register voters. Before the pandemic, one of the biggest things that we were doing was we were actually going to the high schools and registering the young people that were going to be eligible to vote in the 2020 election. Man, it was really exciting. We registered lots of young people to vote. And so our league is just a little over 2 years old.
Yeah.
We have registered 530 voters.
We could do live claps for that. We could do live claps
right? Woo, woo. And that was in the midst of a pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Let me just say.
Yeah.
One of the things that's difficult, totally understandable, is that right now the schools aren't letting people back into the buildings, so we aren't able to register the young people in the way that we were before, but we are eagerly anticipating being able to do that again.
Well, and one of the things that we would like our listeners to know is that if you have a community organization, a church organization, any local community organization where you would want us to come and provide voter education, information, or register voters, or tell you how to register online, just let us know, because we want to do that outreach. So it doesn't have to be a big event, although that's great. And we've done a lot of events and have had some success, sometimes just conversation, which is also important. But in your local groups, let us know. It could be a neighborhood group. It could be a women's club. It doesn't matter. You could be knitters, quilters, painters. It doesn't matter.
I can tell you now that Good Morning Aurora will partner with and reach out to you ladies for a voter registration drive or something.
Excellent.
It will happen. We are going to do that. One of the things about the show when it was started was to raise the awareness in the fashion that we're talking about voting, about your rights and everything like that. But I want people to vote. You got to. And if we got to be out there on a Saturday morning or whatever, we'll hook up with Treadwell again and get some coffee and pastries.
Awesome.
And if you can hear the sound of my voice, I want you to vote. The time is now 8:38 a.m. Tracy Sherman Falcon says, "Wow, that's awesome, Tracy. What is up?" And Greg is clapping. Got the hands in there. I'm telling you, these women do their homework. Yep. Okay. So, what haven't we talked about? I got some more specifics for you, ladies, but
I know a big one that we haven't talked about, which we definitely need to, which are candidate forums.
Yes.
okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So another big thing that the league does to inform voters is hold candidate forums. And those have happened nationally, but they really are most powerful on the local level. And I should let Berta talk about that because she's on the committee, the forums committee. But,
go Berta, go Berta.
So the Forums Committee is just an incredible committee. It works really hard to bring these forums to the community. And they were all virtual last year, which had its pros and cons. The big pro is that we had listeners in the thousands because they were virtual, and also can then be accessed afterwards if you were not able to even be there virtually at that time. So what we did, for example, last year is we held forums for our aldermanic candidates, the different wards, and then also for the at-large. We held forums for the Oswego School Board. And because there were so many races, we obviously can't hold forums for all of those. There's 6 of us in all of those forums. But what we did do is we as a committee, we come up with questions to ask of the candidates. And we sent those questionnaires to all of the candidates in every single race. Fox Valley Park District, Aurora Public Library, the WRD, and any candidate,
Water
Community College, pardon me?
WRD?
Water Reclamation Districts.
Okay.
Those were all, and county. So we sent a questionnaire to all of the candidates, and they answered those questions, and then we put those on our website. So if you wanted to know what positions candidates had, then you could do that research for yourself. The League of Women Voters has a 411 informational so that you can find out about all candidates, but this was very local, and we had a lot of really great response to that. So our forums were very successful, and we will continue to do that. I mean, that's a big part of the League of Women Voters. And we're very well respected for that.
Yes, you are.
It has actually... we had, as a league, let me see, where is that date? In 1976, the league had its first televised presidential debates.
Who was the debate?
76?
76, so
Was
that
it
was
Carter and Ford?
That's right, yeah.
Right.
Carter and Ford.
And it was for general and primary. And at some point, because we are nonpartisan, our questions are informational. What is it that is going on here? What are you going to do about it? What do we know about it? And the candidates ended up wanting to do a lot of partisan questions, and the league then at that point withdrew from holding these forums because that's not what they are.
That's right.
Partisan.
So
That's right.
It is. I mean, it's very intentional to use the word forum versus debate, right? Like
Yes.
very intentional.
Yes.
And the forums are very strict in the format of how they are run, right? There's a question, and each candidate gets an timed opportunity to respond to that question. And it's not opened up for like a back and forth.
No,
It's just like
no.
you answer the question,
Answer.
and now we go on to the next
I love
question.
that.
and we go on to
That's
the next-
right.
Each candidate has the opportunity to address that question.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you rotate who starts
Yep, yep.
the responding.
I love how you ladies do it, and I have before Good Morning Aurora. I was aware of the League of Women Voters activity. I was watching the stuff, and I'm like, this is how it should be done. And so sometimes you see like the candidates will say something, but they want to get that dig in. Can I just respond to what blah 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 said? No. You told us your position and move on. But they have a limit of time, right?
Yes.
Is it 3 minutes?
Yes, it depends on the amount of candidates. So we
Okay.
have opening statement time, closing statement time, and in between. So it's usually 2 to 3 minutes. And the moderator has a very important job.
Yes.
To make sure that things
Yes.
are running. And there's a whole text involved with this. This is not just every league does what it wants. This is the way the League of Women Voters does this.
Are you hiring for moderators? Or something?
There's an actual training
can get
that you
trained.
have to go through in order to be a moderator for
Yes.
the League of Women Voters.
Y'all better watch out. You better watch out.
Well, you can come and join the league.
Yes,
and
first
become
things
a
first.
moderator.
Yeah. You got to
And
crawl
then
for your walk.
jump in, and we would love to have you trained as a moderator.
Yes.
for
All
our
right.
forum.
Let's actually talk. Let's talk membership. How does one go about becoming a member? How do you apply? What's the steps?
So if you go to our website, which is lwvauroraarea.org, and I'm going to send all this to you so that you can put it on the Facebook page.
Wonderful. Yep.
Right?
Definitely.
But LWV Aurora area, you got to write all that out, .org. You can find membership information on our website. It's, I think, like $69 a year for membership for an individual. You can also, there are also household memberships. If you want to like donate more in terms of like sustaining and supporting, there's obviously that. But the basic one there is $69 for individual membership. Membership is open to anyone. Doesn't matter gender, right? Like anyone 16 years of age and older. So there is a student rate as well, which is $19. I think it's 19. I think they upped it.
I think
they upped it. So anyway, it's still very affordable. We would not want funds to be a reason why someone couldn't join the league.
Absolutely.
And the membership funds are ones that are set by the national organization, because some of a good chunk of that money goes to either the state or the national leagues to support their efforts. So yeah, and you can be as involved or not involved. This isn't something like you have to show up every month at a membership meeting or something like that. We have an annual meeting for our members where we, elect the board and things like that. And we encourage you to be involved in at whatever level you want to. Right. You
could be part of a committee. You could just be part of book club. You could be part of the social events committee. You could be part of programs committee. You could be. There's a lot of different options to be involved and we're always open to creating something new as one of the options to be part of the league.
Be a deputy registrar, right?
Yes.
Get certified to be able to register people to vote.
Y'all making me want to join.
All right, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Right there it is.
But for a small league, for a new league, we have 27 members. Woohoo!
Congratulations. Congrats.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let me do a little bit of local headlines real quick. The time is 8:46 a.m. I got some things to tell you guys about here momentarily, so get ready for it. All right. They can hear the news today.
Man, that's a lot of news.
Lot of news. All right. Mental health matters. Don't forget that our friends of NAMI KDK are still looking for volunteers. The mission of NAMI is to provide free mental health education, support, and advocacy for individuals, family members, and communities. If you're interested, please contact the programs coordinator at programs@namikdk.org, NAMIKDK.org. The 5th annual Cups Broad Drive will be happening this year at the Aurora Regional Fire Museum from 5 to 8 p.m. on October 1st. Music, local vendors, and a photo booth. This will be an awesome community event. Support a great cause in downtown Aurora. We've made a post about that. Check that out at your leisure, or go to our Instagram. It's in our Instagram story as well. All right. Fox Valley Hands of Hope presents Project Hope, school-based support for children and teens, now partnered with nearly 50 schools across the Fox Valley region. Project Hope is a collaboration between the Fox Valley Hands of Hope and school staff to identify students grieving and in need. For more information, you can give them a call at 630-232-2233, extension 1225. That number again is 630-232-2233, extension 1225. And then also just want to replug back in this weekend. There's the COVID vaccination at your church. And
correct. St. David's Episcopal Church, which is on the corner of Randall Road and Illinois.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
It is the northeast corner of that intersection, and the state of Illinois Health Department,
IDPH.
Yep, they are obviously the ones running it. We just wanted to make our space available.
Nice. And then the last little thing that I got for you guys here Oh, that's right. September 13th, so next Monday coming up here. State Representatives Stephanie Kifowit, Barbara Hernandez, and Keith Wheeler from Oswego are partnering with the Kane Senior Council and St. Athanasius Greek Orthodox Church to provide free frozen meals to seniors once a month from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. St. Athanasius is located at 1855 5th Avenue in Aurora. Monday the 13th is the last date. Shout out to our elected officials for doing that for like 3 months. So yeah, we can give you live claps, y'all. Live claps.
Lots of good stuff happening in Aurora.
Lots of good things. Lots of good stuff. Yeah, it's 8:49 a.m. All right. What's next? What is next? Well, I got a question that I can just ask you. Is democracy in danger?
I don't know, Bertini. I have my feelings on it, my thoughts on it. I don't know if you want to respond.
Can we share
Well,
our thoughts on it?
I read an interesting book called How Democracies Die.
We read that for book club.
Yes, we did read it for
Robert
book club.
Frum? Yeah. Was it Frum?
I think so.
Okay.
And I want to say that that book was a game changer for me because it's easy to take what we have for granted, and it's easy to not realize that things are changing, and democracy is for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, what your religion is, what your politics are. Democracy is for everybody. And that book, to me, was very alarming. It also put a lot of the change in context for me, which was very important. So I want to say that if we're not careful, if we don't become involved, if we don't really educate ourselves and take politics aside and just look at the change that's happening in the direction, I think there's some peril. That would be what I would say. And it behooves each one of us to make sure that we realize that that could happen.
Right.
I think, I thank you for bringing up that book, because that was a great book to read. It's an easy read.
Yes, it is.
Right? Like sometimes you hear those titles and you're like, oh, I don't know that I have the brain energy to focus on that, but it actually was a pretty easy read, and it does kind of open your eyes. And I think we're complacent. You were kind of talking about that earlier, right? That we might look at young people, although I think young people are in some ways more motivated than maybe some of the other age groups, but it's easy for us to be complacent about like, oh, well, this is the way it is, and there have been difficulties before and everything's going to be fine.
Like, no, it ain't.
Exactly, right?
It's going to be as fine as you make it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And why do we have to have a big cataclysmic event, right? Like, why can't we stay engaged when things are going well, right? That's what keeps it running well, rather than like, hair's on fire kind of a response to things. But we are in danger, I think, of getting to people not being involved and understanding, right?
Once upon a time in my life, I had the pleasure and the privilege of interning for a state representative. Cool. Now, to the point about it always takes a cataclysmic event for people to get motivated to take part and vote, what have you. You're right. It seems to do that. People aren't engaged all the time. I think one of the reasons that they're not engaged all the time is because for young people, maybe it's boring, right? How fun can it be? It wasn't until I interned that I realized, like, holy cow. I, as an individual, just a normal working tax-paying citizen in Aurora, I actually can get involved in many things, and it does matter. And not only that, like, people want to hear from me, from people like you. Like, you would be surprised. You'd be surprised. You actually can get involved, and you can help shape and move the ball forward. And I don't think people understand that. And it can be as cool as you make it.
Right.
You see, it's not glamorous. It's not fun. It's not hip. It's not the greatest, it's not very cool looking. But when you're in it, you can actually make it as cool as you want it to be, and I think that that experience should, like, more people should take part in that. They really can. They really can.
Yeah. Even, and again, maybe all of it isn't interesting to you, but maybe there's one issue that you feel strongly about. Well, your voice does matter for that, whatever that issue is. And, there's also information on both our website as well as the Illinois website. There are links to the Illinois League and the National League on our website, and you can find information about just like how to contact your legislators, right? Like what are ways that you can contact them, or sometimes it's as simple as like what they call a witness slip, where you fill out like a statement and it goes there, or even an email or a phone call and things like that. But that does matter. Like, our elected officials pay attention to the communications that they get. And if you don't like maybe that they're hearing other voices, then chime in yourself.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. It was very cool. Like, we'd be sitting there and it's like, Curtis, what do you think about this? I'm like, for real? Like, how much time we got? Should we do? How can we get people to come out to vote, Curtis? Like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Being an agent for change is really not that hard. No, not that it's insignificant, but as little as passing out free food, right? Or as big as whatever. It just doesn't have to be that difficult, and it makes you feel good, and you've made a change.
Yeah, one of the things I'm proud to have worked on was there was a senior fraud or fraud against senior citizens it's huge, and the pandemic increased it by an exponential amount. Senior citizens are falling victim every single day to these online scams or to things that have the veneer of legitimacy, and then they click the link and the next thing you know, they're bilked out of their money. And it was at the Prisco Center. There was a senior forum to help them prevent scams and all that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of senior citizens that came. And that felt really good. Yeah. They're like, thank you for putting this on, sir. They thought I was the rep. I was like, nah, it's not me, but like like you got it. That's why we're here for you. Real quick, Tracy Duran tells us she doesn't know if this is mentioned already, but this Saturday is a 9/11 commemoration. The ceremony is open to the public. It'll be located at River Edge Bridge. Tracy, thank you very much for putting the link into the chat for us as well. Please go ahead, register if there's registration. It looks like there is. Register for that, you guys, and please take part in that. Time's 8:57. Norma Peterson says she loves this conversation. Thank you very much, Norma. Yeah. Yes. All right. So before we go, what did we not tell these people? We got a lot going on. Did we forget anything? I think we
covered like the important stuff. I guess I would just say, like, hey, if people want more information, go visit our website, just see what's in there. And again, you don't have to be a member to participate in those civic education programs. We want those available to everyone. You can find, we do have a Facebook page, so League of Women Voters Aurora Area Facebook page. We do have an Instagram page as well.
IG.
Yay. And I was going to say, a lot of our things will be like recordings of past forums and past civic education programs. The recordings of those can be found also on our website. Okay. So if someone isn't able to participate, when the event is happening, they can see it, and they want the info, go to our Facebook and our website to find out all that info.
And if you have any questions that you want to ask of us, you can go to our Gmail account. So it's lwaurora@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at that address, and we will get back to you.
Awesome. What a great discussion.
Yeah,
this was good. This was really good. We're going to be doing more, and we will be an outlet for the league activities.
Awesome.
Anything you guys got going on, we'll be sure to share it.
Thank you.
All right. So tomorrow, guys, Jeanette is out of town on a work conference because she works for, I don't want to tell you what she works for.
Good catch.
All right, so instead of Jeanette's playing tomorrow, there will be a special show tomorrow to get you ready for the weekend. So we will be live at 8 a.m. as you know. We want to thank you very much, or thank our guests here very much, and thank the League of Women Voters for all the work that you ladies do and all that you got coming up. Don't forget September 30th, which is a Thursday, the Civic Education Series, School Boards at the Aurora Public Library, live on Facebook with the League and the Aurora Public Library. Thank you very much to all of our fans, subscribers, listeners, and all of you great people here and at home. Have a great Thursday. Have a great Thursday. Be empowered and make sure that you vote.
Amen.
Take care of yourself and each other.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So glad to have you ladies on today.
You are such a great interviewer.
I try. A brother does try.
You gotta bring the energy, and that's what that's one of the things you do well.